Hello everybody, Beau here. Welcome to my vinyl portion of my channel. And I just wanted to mention things like check out my introductory vinyl collection video at Beau's vinyl collection number 001. And you will find it in my list of videos. Actually, I think I'm going to start creating playlists on my channel for each individual interest that I have on here, because there's gun videos, shooting videos, miscellaneous that has to do with music, maybe guitar, things like that. So I'm going to start organizing my channel so it'll be easier to find things. But currently today I am going to start off video number 002 for my vinyl records, and I'm going to start with the soundtrack because I have a special love for soundtracks. And I'm going to start off with a cool movie from 1971 called The Andromeda Strain. And what's cool about this movie is it's one of the first movies, not the first, but one of the early films that started with using an all-electronic soundtrack. Now, I have a theory about different reasons for that, but I think the main one was probably pretty obvious, is you didn't have to hire an orchestra. And as just a guy who did electronic sounds and has other soundtrack experience, and he probably just, had his own recording studio, and I think it was just a lot more economical to do it this way. Plus, you could bring this person in to watch the movie before it was released, so he could do the soundtrack parts while watching the film, because that's traditionally what they did, or at least watching the film and editing the music he already did. So it's a very interesting soundtrack. The composer's name is Gil Melle. He's French, so it'd be pronounced Gil Melle, and or Gil Mille, or Mille. That's my best guess. If you know how to pronounce that, put that in the comments. But anyway, if you like the channel, click like, subscribe. I'm not monetized. There's no intro to the channel, and there's no commercials. I'm not selling you anything. I just enjoy doing this, and I'm not monetized, so that gives us a little more leeway without having ads pop up in your face all the time. And also, this Andromeda Strain soundtrack, I have a few different variants of it, and I will explain each one with a GoPro on my head, so you'll see my point of view at the records rather than looking at my mug. There's a lot of vinyl channels on YouTube where people hold up records and, ooh, look at me, I have a record. Well, this is my intro, and you'll be able to see what I'm looking at with a point of view directly down, and we'll talk about the packaging. I'll show you how the packaging works. It's really interesting, and it's very unique, and I affectionately call it the Jiffy Pop packaging, and you'll see why. But anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to try to make this a fairly regular feature, doing different vinyl records from the collection of interest, collectibles. I don't want to do run-of-the-mill, hey, here's ZZ Top, Eliminator. I mean, everybody's seen it, own it. It's really not a big deal. So it's a great record, don't get me wrong. But anyway, enjoy. And thank you very, very much for watching. Hello, everybody. This is my Andromeda Strain video take 3. Hopefully it comes out good this time. So anyway, I had to repackage everything, put it back together, and we're going to do this video again for the 3rd time. Hopefully we have a winner this time. I changed the lens setting. So we'll learn how to do this along with me and with you as well. So what do we have here? We have 6 copies of the Andromeda Strain soundtrack. And this is an original copy, and this is sealed. I should take that out. Still sealed in shrink wrap. That's worth quite a few bucks. Prices vary online. I've seen it as high as $1,000, and generally it's always around $400. You may see some for less somewhere. If you do and you want one, that's what it looks like. Now this one here is a used copy. The vinyl record inside is in mint condition though. The cover is not. We get some rounded corners, dings, bent corner, creases, and it's because of this packaging. You see how that is? And I call this the Jiffy Pop packaging. So we're going to take out a reissue from 2017. We have a sealed copy here. I'll leave that in the packaging. No point in showing that. It's the same as this one. It's just sealed. It's just an extra copy. These sold for about $40 here at Bull Moose Music in Lewiston and Brunswick. And original electronic soundtrack, the Andromeda Strain, composed by Gil Melle or Gil Melle. Audio sourced from the original stereo analog masters, and they do sound great. And that's the thing that I like about the vinyl today as opposed to when they first started reissuing these. These are not from digital CD masters. They are actually mastered for vinyl records, and there is a difference. You can look that up online, read about it. Audio sourced from the original stereo analog masters. One of the first electronic soundtracks created with electronic instruments, specifically built by composer, Gil Melle. Original 1971 design, deluxe fold-open jacket with hexagonal-shaped vinyl. Record store day exclusive, limited to 1,500 copies. And this is on Jackpot Records, but they kept the cap logos, which is nice. Now this is a hexagonal shape, 6 sides. I can't remember now if my intro said it was octagonal. It might have been. I have a habit of doing that. I have a rifle with an octagonal barrel that I always say is hexagonal. And then we have a hexagonal record I always say is octagonal. So my brain is just screwy. So anyway, well, let's just, it's kind of airtight. When I push on it, it pushes air out. There's a little bit of a suction there. And this just kind of like folds. You just pull one flap. This is real easy to do, so it doesn't get all scarred up. Like this original one here is torn here because somebody, I don't know if they were grabbing it here to open it. Makes no sense to me. But it goes together the same way it comes apart. And the only hard part is taking the first flap out. And the only hard part about putting it together, you see everything just flaps down on top of each other, and then you just kind of like tuck the corner in here like that and just let it go back under its own weight. It's that easy, but it will get a crease over time, which is why I have this play copy. I don't mind if this gets worn out. I have the sealed one. Everybody's different with that. So anyway, we open this up. We have scenes from the movie where he has the key around his neck. He got shot in the face with a defensive laser weapon. He's disorientated. He's trying to go disarm the contamination containment device, which is a nuclear weapon, which inadvertently to them, they found out that if that goes off, it'll actually spread this all over the place like crazy. We got scenes from the movie. We got the cute little baby and the nurse. And the drunk guy that was protected because he was addicted to sterno, better known as an alcoholic. And we have some information here about the instruments and film and the music. And we have this little insert in here that shows you how you put it back together, how it folds. So that's the flap I just showed you how to do with the last one after you flap them all on top of each other, leaving one open. Then you just tuck that inside. And then we have a cool warning label on this hexagonal die cut record. It says, warning, due to the unusual shape of this record, only use manual control on record player, or needle damage will result. So you could ruin your stylus needle, which isn't a needle, it's a diamond on the end of a cantilever. But anyway, You can see these sharp edges. This is a 12-inch record with these bevels. So if the record, your stylus comes down and lands here, it's going to come off and then get hit by this corner spinning. And it's going to break your stuff. So this is a regular poly bag sleeve. They folded the corners over. The original is not like that. I will show you the differences. And they did a good job on the repro. I got a little bit of dander on here, packaging dust. And they have the current JPR, Jackpot Records 044. So if somebody ever tries to pass off an original to you, the information is on here that it is not an original. So just letting you know, even though the packaging has the cap logos and things like that. So it's stuff you should know. And the front cover has the Jackpot logo like I showed you. And now this has these bevels right here, so you have something to hold on to. It's a die cut stamped. They did a great job with this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the original so we can see any differences. My original does not have this insert, but my sealed copy obviously does. And I could print this out and put it with the original, but that's disingenuous. So I have it to look at anyway, so what's the point? So again, we will open this up in a way to not damage it. You'll see it has a crease here. That may be unavoidable just by the way it opens like this. It has pressure here, and you could, I guess, help it along, but it's still going to put a bend. It's just the design of the packaging. So that's why I have sealed ones, so it will always be pristine. And this is a play copy, which is fine. And we will open this up. Once you get it open, you can just flap these like this. Comme ça. And you will see the warning label. This is the reissue. Generally the same size, a little bit bigger. The corners are different. It's more rounded, a little sharper. And the printing is bigger. But it says the same thing. So they reproduced that. Now, like I said, on the reissue, they used a square poly bag with the corners folded over. And we'll put this safely down here. The poly bag on this one resembles more like the Japanese pressings with the rounded, half rounded with a straight edge. And this does look like it was perforated, which means there was perforations and they pulled a strip off here. And so you could take the record out. I'm not going to open the new one to verify that, obviously. It's still sealed. So we have these two records side by side. And you can see the bevel on the repro is much sharper. This is more of a softer angle. But it's basically basically the same with a die cut. That's how it looks. I don't know what they did to round the edges out. Maybe these were more done by hand on a hand machine, somebody wearing gloves. Maybe this was automated. I don't know. But you can see it has the CAP KRS 5513 catalog number on here. And here we have the Jackpot Records catalog number, JPR 044. And some of these printing here is definitely different. We got much smaller printing with more credits on the reissue, which probably would be normal since they had to get licensing rights and they're going to have to give credit. But over here we have CAP Records, which was a division of MCA Records. And so that's the when I play a sound sample at the end of this, I am going to play probably one side. I mean, why not, right? It's in really great condition, mint condition. I'll play the original, even though the repro sounds excellent. So either one sounds good. And if you look at the packaging, you'll see the printing. And now this is a beef I've had with a lot of the modern records that you don't see on this one. This is actually very excellent. They use digital printing nowadays, and a lot of times it's a little fuzzy, not as clear, and these are nice, really nice. The original one has an off contrast. It's not as darkly contrasted, and the printing is about the same as far as sharpness goes, but the newer one actually looks better in my opinion. But these are the originals, those are the differences. And over here we have, I'll take this out of the poly bag. This is a Spanish pressing. It's not a shiny foil cover, it's just kind of a silver gray. Has the cap logo. Same kind of back, I guess. It says Madrid here in Condesa de Verandido. I'm not Hispanic. I'm not good with Spanish, but if you're Hispanic, you can go ahead and laugh at me. I deserve it. And we'll take this out. You will probably quickly recognize there's no inserts in there, as far as I know. This one never had one. The Andromeda Strain on Cap Records. You probably recognize this from the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly soundtrack, which I have a few different copies and variants of that as well, which we will be doing in this series of videos. So anyway, this is in mint, pristine condition. Very good sound quality. And you should handle your records properly. Try not to touch the edges or putting your fingerprints on them, grabbing them like this. You don't want to do that, because most of the noise when you start playing a record and damage that gets done from skin oils happens on this very start track, because that's where people grab it. So it takes a while, you get used to it, but you know, after a while you can handle a record easily with just 2 fingers. It just comes naturally from handling them. I have handled hundreds and hundreds of records, and you just let it sit with your finger in the middle like that. It's easy to do, and when you go to put it on your spindle, try not to dance it all over the place, putting spindle marks on here. Try to kind of like get used to lining it up. Come in like this and sight line it, put it down on your spindle rather than finding your spindle. So anyway, that is the Spanish one, which I put a poly bag inside the sleeve, which I like to use Sleeve City, by the way. They have good products that don't damage vinyl records. And that's important, because some of the cheap poly bags from China, let's say, 5 years from now, you're going to find misting problems on your records and a chemical reaction that happens, and you actually damage your collection. And who are you going to sue in China, right? So best policy is don't use it. Now this is the USA. A little shinier. Now this says in the Discogs that it's 1971 as well as the original, but we have the original packaging and this packaging, so I don't know the story with that. As far as I know, this isn't a reissue of the same year. Sometimes you'll have something that has an initial run, and then they'll do a second run the same year if it sells well. And I guess these did sell pretty well, even though you don't see that many. There weren't that many to buy, so that's probably why they did that. There was a demand for it, and they're like, well, geez, we're not going to do all that packaging again. It costs too much. We'll just do this, call it good. They don't like it, well, too bad. So we have the inside packaging here, like the best of Françoise Hardy. I'd like to have that record, actually. Hello Dolly, Louis Armstrong, I have that record. The best of the bloopers, the best of bloopers. Those records are cool. I wouldn't mind having that. I love these original sleeves. So again, I like to put a poly bag inside if I can. And this is the original Cap record sleeve. Would have been cool if they had other soundtracks on here. But this record's also in mint condition. And this is the USA release. Same label in the middle as on the hexagonal. There's no differences. So, you know, very cool stuff. So if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave comments and ask. I'll dig these out if I have to and show you what's going on. I'm not going to be laborious and watch you laugh at me putting this back together, even though I'm pretty used to it at this point. And I noticed on one of these flaps, I'm starting to get a crease from using it. That was expected, and that's okay. You know, records need to be played. That's why I have a sealed copy. I fully intended to keep that sealed so I could play this. If I didn't have that, I probably wouldn't want to play this, and that's just one of those things. Now, this is more like a record that's normal packaging, so I don't mind playing these. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this is Vinyl Collection Video 002. And I'm going to pick out other releases like Escape from New York, the movie Bullet, real interesting stuff about those soundtracks, and also vinyl records for blues, classical, not classical, maybe a couple classical, something interesting to me personally, but some blues records. Heavy metal, I have a lot of heavy metal from the 80s, like I said in my intro. I got all kinds of stuff I want to start covering. And now that there's an interest for it, and people actually care about these, I've had records for a while now when people weren't buying them. So they were a lot easier to get. I could go to a local record shop here that sold used records. And there was one place where he had a dollar room upstairs. Everything up there was $1 a piece. I'd come home with 200, 250 records for $300. I mean, crazy cheap. Nowadays, that same $5 or $4 or $3 or $2 record back then would easily be $40, $50, $60 a piece now for some of them. So the demand is really high right now. The used vintage record is dried up. They are supply and demand. There's less supply and more demand. So for reasons too, because in 1990 I switched to CDs in the United States, and a lot of these vinyl records just stopped in the United States. Places like Germany still made some, but for the most part it was gone. So a lot of my 90s and early 2000s I have on CDs because that's what there was available. So it's nice to see these reissues done this nicely, I guess is my point. And have originals. So get what you can get, enjoy what you enjoy, and according to the inflation price calculator, $25 today is about $10 in 1988, 87, in the 80s, and that's what vinyl records were selling for then. So price-wise, they're the same as they used to be. They have gone up a little bit, like everything else, but again, that's inflation. So thank you for watching. Click like and subscribe, and enjoy the sound audio sample at the end of this. Bye-bye now. Thank you very, very much.